Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all for third session of 6 days AICTE ISTE sponsored online education program on impact of digital pedagogy in professional development of engineering teachers. It's my pleasure in introducing our guest, Dr. B. Sridevi ma'am. She is presently working as a professor and head of the department in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Sri Sairam Institute of Technology. She completed her master's degree in Computer Science and Engineering with distinction from SRM University and obtained PhD degree in Computer Science and Engineering from Anna University, Chennai. She has more than 18 years of experience in teaching and software industry. She has published papers in Scopus and IEEE. Her research interest lies in the area of programming languages, machine learning, and image processing. She has collaborated actively with researchers in several other disciplines of computer science, particularly medical imaging science. She has published 3 patents and authored books and book chapters. She is an active member of many professional bodies like ISTE, CSI, IEI, IEEE, IAENG, and IRO. I request Dr. Sridevi ma'am to take over the session. Please, ma'am.
Thanks, Anshani, for the brief introduction about me. So, good afternoon to all the participants who are present here. Am I audible?
I'm audible, but somewhat the audio is somewhat very feeble.
1 second, sir. Yeah, now it is okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Okay. It's okay.
So, today's session is all about outcome-based education. So, as many of you here are doctorates, definitely would have been known about this outcome-based learning and what is the need of this outcome-based learning compared to traditional learning methodologies. So I will share my thoughts about this objective outcome-based education in today's 1 hour of 1.5 hours of session. My screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Visible.
So we are here today to learn about this outcome-based education, which the National Board of Accreditation on any accreditation body suggests for a particular program in the college. Any program here, the key terms to be remembered are program, curriculum, course. I can say about graduate attributes. So what do you mean by a program? Program, it always refers to the particular field of engineering, related to engineering and technology we speak. So it is nothing but computer science and engineering, if I take as an example. Program always refers to the field of engineering in which we are seeking the students to be expertise in. And course always refers to the particular subject within that field of engineering. And we can say with this we can formulate the basics of OBE. So before getting into the basics of OBE, so why we need this OBE? What is the importance of this outcome-based learning? So if I don't define the aim and objectives of learning a particular program or a course, definitely I will travel in a vague path, and I cannot say the students will not reach their correct destination. So they will be marching towards something vague, which are not clearly defined. So if you don't know where you are going, any bus will do. So this is the proverb I can say, and this is why we need outcome-based learning. So outcome-based learning helps us to reach the correct destination that we are aiming for with the predefined objectives. So well in advance, whenever I define any program, curriculum, for all the program I can say it is be computer science. So for all such program curriculum, well in advance, I should define the aim, objectives, courses, and for each course, I need the defined syllabus, outcomes meaning after learning this course, what is the gain that students obtain? Outcome given in the student's perspective. So all these things should be clearly defined before I release or I start any program in an engineering institution. So if I don't do this and vaguely I frame a syllabus without any aim, without any objective or without any outcome, then definitely that will not be a success, and I cannot grade the students or I cannot assess the students with a vague syllabus. So all these are very essential to travel in a defined path. So this is where we learn about outcome-based education. So these things we are going to discuss in our session today. So first is historical development, from where this outcome-based learning or education, outcome-based learning or outcome-based education, both keywords can be used. So from where this OBE originated, so this originated in UK actually. Then basics of OBE, benefits and drawbacks of OBE. Whenever I say benefits, definitely there exists some drawbacks also. Then how to write good course outcomes. So you should remember the keywords here. Program always refers to the field of engineering in which I want to excel my students. Course always refers to the subject in the defined field. So writing good course outcomes, and how I am going to perform or how I am going to calculate whether the course outcomes, Sibos stands for course outcomes. So whether the course outcomes are attained, through which method I am going to justify this. We call it as Sibos attainment. And then program outcomes. So collectively, after learning all the courses, definitely my program objective should be attained, which we call it as program outcome attainment. We call it as PO attainment. Then what are the assessment methods we can have, either through formative or summative, any assessment methods. Then these are some other forms of learning. Universal design we have for learning, and then experiential learning, and we march towards the future of outcome-based education, which is the need of the hour. Definitely, any college, it need to be a successful one in the world. It should implement this outcome-based education. So first we go with the history of OBE. So it was formed mainly in the UK by SPADI, and SPADI gave a definition of outcome-based education as clear, observable demonstrations at the end of learning. Clear, observable demonstrations. So whenever I say observable demonstrations, meaning it should be implementable. Clear, implementable learning after the program. So which is defined by the two keywords, design and produce. Design is nothing but, as I said, whenever I mention demonstrate, it means that they need to implement what they did, and they should be assessed through some means, either in the form of lab sessions, or either in the form of mini project, or in the form of, say, question paper, answer type. So they should be assessed and they should be reported as successful students. So this is what is the SPADI definition in 1982 and 1994. So he was very much concerned about this constructive alignment. So what is constructive alignment? Constructive alignment is nothing but the intended students should be clear of what they are doing and how they should express their way of learning. Again, here in constructive learning, teaching learning activities, assessment, and your I can say design, all the three should be inconsistent with each other. So which we call it as constructive alignment. So constructive alignment is nothing but whatever outcomes you define, it should work along with the teaching learning activities. And teaching learning activities, after this teaching learning activities, definitely an assessment should be made, either a formative or summative assessment, and this process is repeated till the learning outcomes are satisfied, which we call it as constructive alignment. So for SPADI, you can say it is based on constructive alignment. So next is this educational objectives by Baum and Jones in 1974. They defined a set of objectives for completing the course. Whenever I say course, it's nothing but a subject. Whenever I say program, it's a field of engineering in which we are interested. So aim of the course should be clearly defined, objectives and completing the objectives and completing the course should be defined. Then activities that the students perform upon learning, as I mentioned, either in the form of mini lectures, seminars, question paper, or mini projects, or main projects, or industrial visits. In whatever way they want to represent, they can represent their completion of objectives. Then if the performance is not, again, it is in this form of triangle. So if the performance is not okay, again I go with refining the course outcome. Refining the course outcome. Then during 1997, he framed an OBE with this definition. The institutions of higher education, as I mentioned in the beginning, before framing a curriculum, before specifying a particular program, they should clearly understand the intended outcomes of the student with the level of understanding and key skills required. So with this only we frame the prerequisites for a course. Say we often use the terminology prerequisites. So before learning a microprocessor, you should learn computer architecture. So this is the prerequisite for learning microprocessor. So all such prerequisites should also be mentioned clearly before framing a syllabus for a course. Then cognitive skills. What is cognitive skills? Cognitive skills is nothing but brain related skills. So how it is related to attitude. It is related to attitude of the students. How it is this particular course is going to change the attitude of the students, and how they can remember the facts and concepts which are there in the particular course. So all these matters with cognitive skills. And the subject specific skills. If it is a lab oriented subject, I can very well give it as in the form of exercises which the students can learn in laboratory. So this is what we express with respect to theory. Then this is outcome based education. In short, outcome based education emphasizes on what your students should be able to do at the end of the program. So after learning computer science, what will be the students capable of in the field of computer science. Then assessing the students whether they are able to do what they are expected to do. Definitely, your objectives and aims should be mapped with each other in such a way that both are consistent to each other. Then orienting teaching and other academic processes to facilitate students to do what they are expected to do. So we have to use, or we have to modernize the teaching activities and other academic processes. Say assessment is one academic process, right? Major academic process. So we should articulate the teaching and assessment process according to the objectives which are defined. We should not use the traditional teaching methodology. We should focus on the new teaching methodologies, like usage of ICT tools are best example, which is the title of this particular ISTE, right? Using digital technologies in teaching and learning process. So definitely it is the need of the hour. Every faculty should be well versed in the digital technologies in order to prove ourselves more superior than the students. The students should not teach us, we should teach the students. In such a way, we should be training. Then basics of OBE. Before getting into the outcome-based education, what are the parameters or what are the key terminologies you should understand for this OBE? We call it as GA, graduate attributes, program educational objectives. So many of you might be knowing all these. For people who have joined recently, definitely they should know the, without NBA accreditation, they should know all these terminologies. Program outcomes, program specific outcomes, both are entirely different. Program outcomes is different, program specific outcomes is different. Then course outcomes. So hierarchy level we follow like this. First will be your program outcomes defined by any accredited body like NBA. Program outcomes followed by PEO, program educational outcomes, and then program specific outcomes, then your course outcomes. Course outcomes will be at the end. Course always refers to the subject. Program always refers to the field of engineering, be it computer science or be it mechanical. So in this, earlier we had two things, graduate attributes and program outcomes. Now almost they correlated these two things as a single key terminology called program outcomes. So one by one we will see graduate attributes. What is a graduate attributes? Graduate attributes are exemplars of the attributes expected of a graduate from an accredited program. So it's nothing but they are tools. They act as graduate attributes, act as tools for assessing a graduate from an program. It may be BE computer science. So from BE computer science, what is the student, whether he has learned to be computer science thoroughly? These are tools. So graduate attributes are tools. Attributes, whenever I say, I can call it as fields or features. Are features which define how a graduate comes out from a program. So graduate attributes are, again, they are defined by National Board of Accreditation. So this National Board of Accreditation, it's an accrediting body. National Board of Accreditation is an accrediting body, and it gives accreditation for a particular field of or for a particular program in a college. It is not for the college, it is for a particular program in the college. Say BE computer science should get accredited separately, BE mechanical should get accredited separately, BE triple should get accredited separately. So based on these graduate attributes, so they have defined 12 graduate attributes for any program. These are common for all the programs: engineering knowledge, program analysis, design development, conduct. You need not memorize all these graduate attributes. Just remember the count alone. 12 graduate attributes are there. So what are graduate attributes? They are tools for assessing a particular graduate who's graduating from a program. They are tools for assessing a graduate. Then program outcomes. Again, there will not be much variation with these two. Again, we have program outcomes as 12. Engineering knowledge, program analysis, design development of solution, conduct investigation of common problems, modern tool usage, engineer and society, environment and sustainability, ethics, individual and team work, communication, project management and finance, lifelong learning. Then why we need to have these two keywords, graduate attributes and program outcomes, if both are same? For our betterment, better understanding, we can have this mapping of program outcomes with graduate attributes. So as we can see from the table, the first program outcome is mapped to first graduate attribute, second program outcome, which is problem analysis. Problem analysis is mapped to fourth graduate attribute, which is conducting investigations of complex problems. Then third one is mapped to 3 and 7 of graduate attributes. So here we can, this graduate attributes were formed in the earlier stage of MBA. Now they have refined it to be program outcomes, but both are same with minor variations alone, So you can justify with this mapping, like these are the program outcomes which map to these graduate attributes. Then what do you mean by program educational objectives? So whenever I say program, it is the field of engineering, mechanical engineering, program educational objectives. So after learning this BE mechanical engineering, what should be the ability of the students, whether they are prepared for higher studies, they are prepared for employment, they are prepared for entrepreneurship. So in all these, they are prepared for any startup. So in all these, they are prepared for the wellness of the society. So in all these angles, I should analyze the program syllabus, in all program curriculum. In all these angles, I should analyze the program curriculum and frame the PEOs. So PEOs of program educational objectives, it can be around 1 to minimum of 3 PEOs, say maximum of 6 PEOs, minimum of 3 PEOs and maximum of 6 PEOs to assess the assess the students evolving out of a particular program. So program educational objectives are broad statements that describe the career and professional achievements that the program is preparing the students to achieve within first few years of graduation. So this is most important. So I cannot say for a student graduating in 2020 is idle till 2016. 2016 he got employment, or 2016 he went for higher studies. That is not a real achievement, because 6 years he has been idle. That's what the last statement says, within the first few years after graduation. So we call that 1 year after graduation as fresh year. So you can omit that fresh year status, and you can have an extension of 1 more year. So within 2 years of graduation, within 2 years after graduation, what is the status of the particular student in the outside world? Whether he has gone for job, he has gone for higher studies, he's become an entrepreneur, he's become a societal person. So in any one status he should be in within 2 years of graduation. Then PEO should be consistent with the mission of the institution. So in outcome-based learning, the first and foremost thing that we frame is vision and mission of the institution, vision and mission of the department or program, vision and mission of the program. So all of you might be knowing what is vision, what is mission. What is vision? What is that we are aiming to achieve? That is called as vision. What is mission? How we are going to achieve that? What are the strategies we are going to follow to achieve the vision? Vision statement states that what we are going to achieve as a long term through this particular through the institution. If I say it as institution vision, how we are going to achieve this is called as mission. Similarly, you correlate with the program also. What we are going to achieve in the program as a long period, we call it as vision. How we are going to achieve all these things within the department, within the program, we call it as mission. So this PEOs, whatever we write, it should be consistent with the mission of the institution. Mission of the institution. Say in mission of institutions, I have stated like I deliver quality engineers who are research focused, and entrepreneurial, who has entrepreneurship. So these keywords, they are there in the mission of the institution. In my PEOs, program educational objectives, definitely I should use the keywords which are there in the institution. Without the mission of the institution, without the words there in the mission of the institution, I cannot frame my department mission. It should be correlated with the institution mission. So PEO should be correlated with the mission of the institution. Whatever keywords you use in the mission of the institution, those keywords should be there in framing your PEOs. In addition to that, you can have your own department keywords also, but those keywords are mandatory. Then PEOs can measure by a PEO matrix. So we have this thing separately. Then PEOs should evolve through constant feedback from. Again, in framing the PEOs, these are the stakeholders who are involved. Your alumni, current students, employers, management. Of course, if you want to add on something like professional bodies, government, non-government agencies, or parents, so all those things are up to you. But in framing the PEOs, definitely you should involve all these stakeholders. Next is program outcomes. So program outcomes, already we have seen those 12 outcomes which are framed by National Board of Accreditation. You have to strictly follow these 12 outcomes, and you have to map your course outcomes to the program outcomes definitely. So I hope these 12 parameters, they cover all the aspects in the field of engineering. Then program specific outcomes, something we have new terminology here, program specific outcomes. So what is the mean? What is the meaning of this? You narrow down the keywords which are specific to your program. For example, I have developed a Center of Excellence. I have signed MOU with say Microsoft or with say IBM or with Cisco. So if I take example as Cisco are pioneers in networking. So what I can evolve as my PSO, one of my PSO is to become an center of excellence in networking, in the field of networking. Say I have signed MOU with Dell EMC, which is an big data company, So what I can have in my PSO is, one of my PSO is to excel in the field of data science, So this is what I expect in PSO statements. So program outcomes are narrower statements that describe what students are expected to be able to do at the time of graduation. POs are expected to be aligned closely with the graduate attributes. Here I have not defined PSOs. So PSOs are specific outcomes which I gain from the field of my program. Either it may be computer science or it may be mechanical or it may be triple, but it should be justified properly. If I say I am, my students will after graduation, my students or our program is specific in networking, then I should show valid proofs like I have Center of Excellence with Cisco, for example. I have Center of Excellence with Cisco. I have Center of Excellence with say Palo Alto Networks. So some of the pioneering networking field should be shown as alliances if I fix a PSO. The next is course outcomes. Course outcomes are nothing but, as I mentioned, they are subject specific. So most of us are familiar with this course outcomes, but how to frame these course outcomes for a particular course. So upon completion of this particular course, upon completion of this particular subjects, the students are able to solve these POs in the field. Solve these POs in the particular field of engineering. You know what is a PO. So out of 12 POs, these are the POs which the students can excel in after completion of this particular course. So how to write a course outcome? So before getting into how to write a course outcome, what are the benefits and drawbacks we have with OT? Definitely a clarity, flexibility, and comparison. These are the clarity in the sense I get a clarity of the curriculum and syllabi. So wherever I represent, I can present myself with a good clarity about the program. Then flexibility. Whenever I want, whenever you say OBE, there comes your outcome-based education. There is a framework where you start with the program assessment committee, which are internal faculty, to discuss about the curriculum. Then you go with the department advisory board, where there will be members from outside colleges and industry people, and they give suggestions on your curriculum. Then your board of studies, again in board of studies, again many people will be there from outside, alumni, parents, current students, industry people, other academicians. So other professional bodies also will be there. So they give you a suggestion on your curriculum and syllabi. Then it will be approved by the academic council, and finally it will be given to the governing council. So this is the hierarchy we follow. At any point in time, if there occurs a need to change the syllabus, definitely it is permitted with the consent of the corresponding members. That's what we call it as flexibility in the syllabus. And comparison deals with comparing our outcomes or our framing of curriculum and syllabi with other colleges, which leads to enhancement of the syllabus. It's the other institutions, comparison of our the curriculum and design with the other colleges. Definitely it leads to the enhancement of the syllabus. Then drawbacks, a number of terminologies are there. We call it as definition. Then assessment problems, meaning different people use different kinds of assessment. So I can use a quiz as an assessment, other people can use assignment as an assessment, other person can use unit or internal exams as an which is in the form of question and answer, will be an assessment tool for them. Then some other person, they can use say mini projects as an assessment. So there is no generalization on this assessment methodology. Of course, this particular generality is nothing but if this is the particular step that I should follow to gain this attainment. There is no such defined structure. We call it as generality. Then involvement, all the people, definitely they should involve in the process. Involvement meaning, as I said, it definitely means the stakeholders. All the stakeholders should be involved in the process of outcome-based education and give their valuable suggestion, then only it becomes a successful one. Without involvement of the stakeholder, I cannot able to enhance myself. So involvement also plays a vital role. Some people might not be fully involved, they just come for the sake of their meeting and they will not involve completely in the process of OBE. So these are the benefits and drawbacks. But the benefits is clarity, comparison, and flexibility. We march towards the benefits. Then how this traditional and outcome-based learning are different. So as you can see from the table, attendance in traditional method, we had attendance. Students should have 80% attendance. Students should submit the assignments in time. Then they should write the exams clearly and they should get 50% of marks. And whatever activities that we specify, they should complete all the activities to get the internal marks. So these things are purely monopoly, driven by the teacher. In outcome-based education, student learning objectives, we call something as student learning objectives. So achievement of course student learning objectives. So student learning objectives mean it is both self-supportive and teacher-oriented. So even the learning, having the objective in hand well in advance, the student can march towards attainment of all the objectives through any means. So we can go for online learning, we can go for online exam oriented learning, we can go for say problem solving online. So whatever means he wants, we can achieve this outcomes in outcome-based education. Then evaluation methodology. So here it is. In outcome-based education, it is rubric-based. So what is a rubric? Rubric is nothing but clear rules which we state in advance. Clear rules which we state in advance. Meaning, if say for example, 50% of the students, got above 60% or got above 60 marks. Then for this outcome, the attainment is 2. So like this, we will clearly frame the rules well in advance. So grades are derived from total points on assessment of specific student learning outcomes. So earlier it was not like that. Again, it is traditional method. We have points which are fixed for, out of total points, 20 points are fixed for assignment, 20 points are fixed for say activity, 60 points is fixed for exam. So like this only we will calculate in the traditional method. Then method of reporting grades, A to F are based on activities, assignment, test, etc. A to F. Again, here main difference is earlier it was exam based or activity based. Here now it is all clearly stated and SLO based. So this is the difference between traditional and outcome based education. Earlier it was attendance, assignment, exam and activity based. Now it is SLO based. SLO is nothing but student learning outcome. We call it as, it is justified by the collective course outcomes. So this is very important. How to write a good course outcome for your course. Assume that I am taking say data structures. Within my field of engineering, I take data structures. How I am going to write course outcomes for this subject. Remember, course here refers to data structures. On learning this data structure, either by unit wise or on the whole, what is the output or what is the outcome with respect to the student, with respect to the student. This is what I am going to elaborate as course outcomes. So whenever I learn, I write the course outcomes. Whenever I write the course outcomes, these things I should remember. First is the action verb. First is the action verb. Just a sec. Sorry for the interruption. So first, how to write the course outcome. These things you have to keep in mind for writing an effective course outcomes. First is the action verb. What do you mean by an action verb? I'll tell you what it is. Action, any action, we call it as a verb. Just provide or say examine, understand. So all these I call it as an action verb. Second step is the subject content. So from that particular subject, what is the keyword that you are going to refer for this course outcome? Remember, course outcome need not be unit wise. It is for the entire course. It is for the entire course. On learning data structure, what is the output that I am going to, or the student is going to get? So this is what you should have in mind. Course outcome is for the entire course. I can have minimum of 3 course outcome for a subject, maximum of 6 course outcome for a subject. Why I am fixing this threshold 3 and 6 is, you have to map all the course outcomes with the program outcomes at the end. So if you have n number of course outcomes, that mapping becomes a tedious process. So in order to concise this, we have minimum value as 3 and maximum value as 6. If you are writing 6 course outcomes, it is not required that all the CO1 course outcome 1 should correspond to unit 1, course outcome 2 should correspond to unit 2, course outcome 3 should correspond to unit 3. It is not like that. On learning the subject on the whole, what is the outcome that the student is going to gain? One course outcome 1, 2 can be from first unit. Course outcome 3, 4 can be from second unit. Course outcome 5 and 6 can be from say fifth unit, or it covers the 3, 4, 5 units. So on the whole, you have to write the course outcome. First step is specify an action verb. Second step is specify a subject content. Third and fourth are optional for a particular course outcome. Third and fourth are optional for a particular course outcome. Level of achievement and condition of performance. Condition of performance meaning under this particular supervision, under this threshold. If I state that, we call it as condition of performance. Level of achievement. Level of achievement on learning this outcome. If I want, they are pioneered in say particular micro 8051 microcontroller. That level of pioneered, that pioneered is the level of achievement that can be specified. If I need, first 2 things are essential: action verb and subject content. Other 2 are optional. So moving on to this with an example, how I can specify the keyword or action verb. How I can specify the action verb. Action verb is specified using the Bloom's taxonomy. Action verb is specified using Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom is a person who devised this in order to make ourselves efficient in framing the questions and understanding the course objectives and outcomes. Bloom is a person who framed this taxonomy with 6 levels. So first level I call it as recall, second level I call it as examine, third level I call it as apply, fourth level is analyze, fifth level is evaluate, sixth is create. So we call it as BTL 1 to BTL 6, Bloom's taxonomy level. Bloom's taxonomy level 1, it is recall. Bloom's taxonomy 6 to taxonomy level 6 is create. So with all these Bloom's taxonomy levels, we should frame our internal question papers. We should frame our Sibos. So wherever we ask any question to the students, definitely it should follow the Bloom's taxonomy level. So for this CO, course outcome, first step is we should choose the action verb for that particular course outcome. That action verb should be chosen from the Bloom's taxonomy from any level. It need not be from lower order or it need not be from higher order. Either I can use describe, either I can use discuss, either I can use explain or assess or compose. It is up to you. So first word should be from this list of words. First word of your CO, either for CO1 or CO2 or CO3, it should be from this list. Second, do not use these particular words. Understand, appreciate, be aware. If you want to make a note of these keywords, you please make a note of it. You should not use these keywords in your Sibos. Understand, appreciate, be aware, cover. I think it's not here as well. Yes, it's not here as well. So you can completely neglect these words. Then what is step 2? Step 2, as I mentioned, you should select a subject content which very well explains that particular CO. For example, if I take CO1 as list areas of consensus and disagreement among publications on global warming. List is the action verb, which is the first step. Area of consensus and disagreement among publications is the subject content. Subject content on global warming is the subject content. This is what students are listing. So first 2 tasks we have framed with this. As I mentioned, task 3 and task 4. Step 3 and step 4 are optional. Step 3 is level of achievement. Step 4 is your step 4 is performance, right? So step 3, decide if your CO requires either level of achievement or a condition of performance. Level of achievement, fourth is condition of performance. So if you want to give a level of achievement, how proficient the student has pioneered. So if I am going to give a task like composition course, your students are writing an composition. Write a literature critique with no grammatical errors. This tells the students level of achievements that is expected from them. Write is an action verb. Literature critique is an subject content with no grammatical errors. This is what is expected to achieve with no grammatical errors. So that is level of achievement. Importantly, you need not have a level of achievement for every course level. Again, it is optional. This level of achievement is optional. I think this is the best example for level of achievement. Write a literature critique with no grammatical errors is level of achievement. Step 4 is condition of performance. You can take this CVAS example, course outcome. Demonstrate oxy-fuel gas cutting techniques with limited supervision. So level of performance, it specifies the maximum and minimum threshold or maximum and minimum conditions. So with limited supervision is the level of or conditions of performance. Again, this conditions of performance is optional. Only two things you need for specifying the CO clearly. First one is you should choose the action verbs from Bloom's taxonomy. You should choose the action words from Bloom's taxonomy. You need not memorize this Bloom's taxonomy. Just if you have this as a reference when framing your CO, that is fine. So use any list, any words which are there in this particular list. And one more thing to be remembered is, suppose if I choose examine as the keyword for a CO, examine as the action verb for a CO, then I can surely say my CO is in the level 3, BTL level 3. My CO is in the BTL level 3. So based on these words only, I can finalize the levels of the Sibos. Make sure that for a particular subject, at least you go till fifth level. You should not frame all the Sibos within the recall level or within the examine level. Make sure that you distribute the Sibos till the evaluate level. In problem solving papers, definitely I can go till, or in programming papers, I can go till create level, which is BTL 6. Next is subject content. These two things should be there for defining a CO. Other two, like level of achievement and performance, conditions of performance, are optional. So is there any doubt for framing the COs? Which is the very first step. Once you frame the COs correctly, automatically the attainment process, COPO mapping will proceed perfectly. Then next we see about how to calculate the attainment of COs. Meaning, I have defined 5 COs: CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5. CO1 is perfectly learned. The objective of the OBE is assessing the student learning process, and making sure that all the students learn the outcomes that are specified. To have a specific measure on this particular COs, we calculate the CO attainment. CO attainment can be done in two forms: direct method and indirect method. So in direct method, we have internal exams, which we call it as cumulative assessment test, CAT 1, 2, 3, or unit test 1, 2, 3. According to your institution, it is categorized internal exams. Then university exams, which takes the maximum weightage. And internal assessment matrices, such as for each COs, definitely we should have a internal assessment metric. It may be a quiz, it may be a seminar, it may be a presentation, it may be a mini project, it may be an assignment. So definitely, if I have for assessing the internally, I can have either quizzes, or I can say for CO1 I can have quiz, for CO2 I can have seminar, for CO3 I can have if it is a problematic paper, I can have it as an assignment. Say for CO4, if it is something related to programming, I can give it as a mini project. So according to my CO, I can choose any one internal metric. So these three collectively act as parameters for CO attainment with direct method. So we will see how we will assign the COs. Then indirect method, as I mentioned, CO attainment can be either through direct method. I cannot say either through. Weightage is given for direct method, weightage is given for indirect method. Collectively, we formulate whether the CO is attained or not. So in indirect method, we assess the CO by conducting surveys for the Passing out students, surveys with the stakeholders. Stakeholders, if I take, parents are stakeholders, government and non-government agencies are stakeholders, your professional body members are stakeholders to you. And of course, yeah, government, non-government, and professional bodies act as stakeholders for it. Then alumni is also one of the stakeholder actually. Then survey from placement officers. Placement officers are nothing but your employers who choose your students. Employers who choose your students, definitely you need to get feedback from them, how your particular student is performing in their company, attitude wise, performance wise, how he is doing. So all these you can get, and this thing can be collectively collected during an placement officers meet. In such a situation, you can collect it, or you can send it through your student itself to get the immediate feedback from their HR. Then co-curricular and extracurricular activity. Co-curricular and extracurricular activity. Co-curricular, your all symposium, conference, paper publications, say other like hackathons. So all these comes into picture in co-curricular. And extracurricular, you can have NSS, NCC, UBA, YRC, any other club related activities, sports related activities. It plays a vital role in this indirect assessment method. So here till now we have seen in CO attainment we have two forms, direct method and indirect method. Direct method we have internal exams, university exams. Okay. So we have internal exams, university exams, internal assessment matrices, and in indirect method we have all the surveys. So first we will go to direct method. So as I mentioned, internal exams, university exams, and internal assessment matrices. So here, if you see this as an example, I have 5 COs for a course. CO1 is mapped with the internal metrics test. CO1 is achieved in the form of test. CO2 is achieved in the form of quiz. CO3 is achieved in the form of presentation. CO4 in the form of seminar. CO5 in the form of group mini project. And this is not again fixed. You can change according to your needs. That's what there is no generality. There is no generality in the assessment methods. This we stated as drawbacks also. In drawbacks also, you can have this according to your needs, but it is better that if you fix one metrics for a particular CO, that is easy to consolidate. Then CO attainment. While framing the question paper, definitely you have to mention the COs at the end of each question. This is very, very essential. When you frame an internal exam question paper or university exam question paper or any assignments in the form of internal matrices, you have to mention the CO which is mapped to that question. CO which is mapped to that question at the end of the question. Say for example, in data structure, what is linked list? What is linked list? Linked list is a topic, subject topic, which comes in first unit. Linked list is a subject topic which comes in first unit. And I have mapped the first unit to CO1, to course outcome 1. Then after this question, what is linked list? After this question, I should mention in bracket CO1. What is the meaning of it? First question is mapped to CO1. Second question is mapped to CO2. Third question is mapped to again CO1. So for all the questions that I ask in the question paper, definitely I need to mention the Sibos. This is the first step. Second step is fix the rubrics. Fix the rubrics. Rubrics are nothing but internal rules that we, or the threshold values that we fix. Threshold values that we fix for the Sibos attainment. So what are the rubrics for direct attainment we are fixing here? 50% of the student got above 50%. This 50% is mark. This 50% is mark. This 50 is the pass mark. 50 is the pass mark. If only 50% of the students have got 50% and above, then we frame the numeral to be 1, which is low. 60% of the student above 50%, meaning 60% of the students have got above pass mark, then it is medium. 70% of the students have passed, then it is 3, which is high. So this is the rubric that we fix usually for direct attainment. Then what is the next first step? So first step what we have done in Sibos attainment, there are two things, direct and indirect. Direct is internal exam, university exam, internal assessment rubric. Indirect is your surveys in the form of your surveys. Next is you set the question paper assignment or whatever assessment tool that you use. For that, you have to map your Sibos at the end of the questions. Then after that, we fix the rubrics as 50%, 60%, and 70% with the numeral 1, 2, and 3, low, medium, and high. So what is the first step in we are going to follow in direct attainment? So what we are going to do is you construct an Excel sheet, internal exam, university exam. Internal exam, 3 internal tests we have, test 1, test 2, and model exam. University exam is 1. And for this subject, I have 5 Sibos, right? Sibos 1, Sibos 2, Sibos 3, Sibos 4, Sibos 5. These are the register number. 4 students have appeared for these 3 internal tests and university exam. So student 1, here I have assumed that Sibos 1 and Sibos 2 are covered in internal test 1. Sibos 3 and Sibos 4 are covered in internal test 2. And all the Sibos are covered in model exam. Of course, all the Sibos are covered in university exam. So when I assume this, Sibos 1 and 2 are covered in test 1. How many students have answered for how many marks in Sibos 1, for how many marks in Sibos 2? So for Sibos 1, I assign 50% of marks. For Sibos 2, I assign 50% of marks. So totally 100. Here I assign Sibos 3 50% of marks, Sibos 4 50% of marks. Of course, here it is here 50-50. Here it is 3, 4, 5 are covered. So I am assigning 30, 30, and 40. 30% weightage for Sibos 3. 30% again. This is purely based on the subject handler. This is purely based on the subject handler, meaning this fixation of Sibos, fixation of percentage of marks for Sibos. For Sibos 3, I have fixed 30 marks. For Sibos 4, I have fixed 30 marks. For Sibos 5, I have fixed 40 marks. In any case, the total should be 100. So 30, 30, 40. 60 plus 40, 100. 50 plus 50, 100. For model exam, for all the Sibos, I have given 20, 20, 20, 20, which is 100. For university exam, it is Sibos 1 and 2, it is 10, 10. 3, 20, 50, 20, 25. So total 100. So this is the maximum mark Sibos wise. So how I am going to evaluate this thing? You first note down the marks for Sibos 1. Note down the marks for Sibos 1 based on the student choice. Based on the student choice. If you take this particular register number, this student has secured 30 marks in Sibos 1, 40 marks in Sibos 2 out of 50 each. Out of 50 each. Similarly, this student has secured 25 marks in Sibos 1, 37 marks in Sibos N. This student 10 marks and 30 marks. This student 14 and 20. Right? So total number of students attended is 4. What we have kept as rubric, 50% above or 50% above 50%, meaning 50% got pass mark. 50% and above got pass mark, it is low. 60% and above it is 2. 70% and above it is 50. So here 4 out of 4, only 2 for 50. What is the 50%? It is 25. For 50, 50% is 25. For 30, 50% is 15. For 40, 50% is 20. For 100, 50% is 50. So first we mark the threshold. For this 25, how many for this threshold? How many have got above 25, 25 and 30? 25 and 30. 25 and 30. These two register numbers only have got above 50. So count is 2. Threshold is 1. Is there anybody who got 60% and above? There is no 60% and above. If you take this particular thing, CO2. CO2 again 4 students have attended. 50 is the total marks for the CO. 50% of it is 25. So number of students who got above 50% is 3. That is 40, 37 and 30. So if it is more than that, the threshold increases to 3. So these are the levels, the bottom line, that is level. Level we fix for the Sibos. CO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Definitely it will be there in your model exam and university exam. Next step is calculating the final attainment, Sibo attainment of this particular subject, say data set. Right? So you just give a column like CO 1 to CO 5 for test 1. How I have chosen 1 and 3? Just write these two values. Take the last row. Take the last row of the assessment. Definitely it should be 1, 2 or 3. So you just explain. There is no 3, 4, 5. So give it as that. Similarly for test 2, there is no CO1 and CO2. For CO3 it is 3, 4, 5. It is 3, 3, 3. 3, 3, 3. Similarly for model exam. Model exam it is all 3. All 3. So what is this internal? Internal, as I mentioned, it is nothing but internal matrices for CO1, either in the form of quiz or in the form of assignment or in the form of your mini projects or in the form of presentation. Usually we give full marks because they are expected to submit that activity, whatever we give for that particular CO. So it is taken all 3. Then sum of internal is nothing but add all these and divide by 3. 1, 2, 3. So 3 plus 3, 6. 6 plus 1, 7. 7 by 3 is 2.33. Similarly, 3 plus 3 plus 3. It is 3. Add all these and divide by 3. Divide by 3, you get these values, right? Then university exam, again you take the last row. It is all 3. It is all 3. Now, internal university attainments. Internal university attainments. How I calculate this is just add all these values in the column, divided by 5. Divided by 5, you get this value 2.87. Similarly, add all these and divided by 5, you get this value 3. Weightage. Remember, always higher weightage, 80% of weightage is given to university. 20% of weightage is given to the internal marks and assessments. Internal mark and matrices. Internal marks and matrices. So it is universally followed. You cannot change this value. Weightage is 20% for internal, 80% for external. External is university exam. So we can say 20%, 20 into 20 by 100 into 2.87 is 0.57. 80 by 100 into 3 is 2.40. These two should be added, internal plus external, 0.57 plus 2.50, 2.40, which is 2.97. This is the final CO attainment for the subject, which includes assessment of all the COs individually. So likewise, you have to calculate the CO attainment of all the subjects under your program. Under your program meaning BE Mechanical Engineering or BE Computer Science Engineering. So under BE Computer Science Engineering, say I have 64 courses, which include science and humanities, MBA management related courses, then your employability enhancement courses. For all the courses under the program, definitely I need to calculate this attainment individually for each course. This is the method, direct method. Right? Any doubt till this? this is how I need to calculate the CO attainment for all the subjects under my program. We have two methods here, direct and indirect. Direct is nothing but your internal exams, internal matrices, and your university exam. Then indirect is nothing but your surveys. One second. Indirect is nothing but your surveys, all kind of surveys. Just a moment. So you have indirect method in the form of surveys. Then what you're going to do for all the question paper that you define, you have to mention the Sibos at the end. Then you have to fix the rubrics. According to the rubrics, you have to evaluate the Sibos levels 1, 2, 3. Then you fix the rubrics in the table. And finally compute the thing as 20% and 80%, which is 20% internal, 80% external. Together, I compute add the sum up and give the CO attainment for the subject. Next is PO attainment. PO attainment. So in this, we have not seen the indirect method. We have seen only the direct method. Again, remember, for direct method, it is 80% weightage is given. Meaning, I'll tell you in the PO attainment, that one, right? So for direct, it is 80%. For indirect, it is again 20%. So what is PO attainment? PO is nothing but program. Collectively, if I achieve the CO attainments, CO course outcomes, definitely I will attain the program outcome. Program outcome meaning that 1 to 12 outcomes that I have. Program outcome 1, engineering knowledge, 2, problem analysis, and 12 is lifelong learning. So if I achieve for all the courses, course outcomes, definitely there is close correlation with CO, PO. And again, here too, we have in PO attainment, we have a direct method and an indirect method. Direct method and indirect method. So direct method is only through CO-PO matrix. We call it a CO-PO mapping. CO-PO mapping. There in CO attainment, we have direct methods like internal and external exams. Here it is done through CO-PO matrix or mapping. Again, we fix the rubrics. 1 represent, there is very low correlation between the course outcome and the program outcome. 2 represent medium, 3 represent high. So this is a sample CO-PO mapping. So in the what I can say columns, I can represent all the POs, PO1 to PO12, PO1 to actually it is still PO10, but you should include PO11 and PO12. Then you have to map the PSOs also, program specific outcomes. And remember, program specific outcomes can be a minimum of 2, maximum of 3. Don't extend beyond that. PSO, that is program specific outcome, as I mentioned. Your department is strong in which field or in which discipline of that particular study. I am strong in networking. I am strong in big data. Like that, you have to specify the various sectors in which your program is strong, in which your department is strong in. That is called as PSO. So you have to map the COs with the PSOs also. And here too, you can have only 4 values. Dash indicates not correlated. NC. Dash indicates not correlated, meaning CO1 is totally not correlated with PO2. What is PO2? PO2 is problem analysis. PO2 is problem analysis. Whatever CO2 I have written, it doesn't correlate with problem analysis. It is not related to any say analysis of the problem. One second. So we have 4 values here. One is not good. If I mention it as dash, it means not correlated. If I mention it as some sort of say 50% of correlation, then it is 1. 60% of correlation, I can say 2. 70 and above, I can say it as 3. Remember, this 1, 2, 3, which are specified here, is purely justified by the person who is handling the course. You should be in a position to justify why you have given this 3, CO3 to PO2. CO3, PO2, it's exactly matching. So I have given 3. So the justification is purely given by the course handler or subject handler. This is the first step you have to do for your PO attainment, CO-PO mapping. So after defining this table, you cannot give here just 0 dash 1, 2, 3. Which you should analyze all the program outcomes, all your COs, say CO1 to CO5, and map correctly. This is the base for your PO attainment. So first is CO-PO mapping. Second one is how to calculate the PO attainment. PO attainment equal to average of COs of your PO. What is the meaning of it? You have to get the average of the first column. You have to get the average of the first column, PO1. Get the average of the second column for PO2. So first column it will be by 3 into final CO attainment for the subject. So average of COs for PO1 by 3. What is the average of COs for PO1? So you take this as example. Average of COs for PO1 is 3. For PO1, average is 3. So what I should give? 3 divided by 3 into what is 2.97? It is final CO attainment of the subject. Final CO attainment of the subject. So we get the answer as 2.97. That's why here the text which is marked in red is correct. PO 2.97. Similarly, for PO2, average of, this is the average of COs. This is the average of COs, meaning this value. Average of COs and average of POs. Here PO2 is nothing but average of PO2 divided by 3 into 2.97. Similarly, average of PO3 average of PO3 divided by 3 into 2.97. This 2.97 is constant for this particular course, C102. C102 always indicates course beginning to first semester, second subject. This is the nomenclature followed in NBA. C102 means clearly I can say course in first semester, as a second subject, So all these values corresponds to the PO attainment. Then what I am going to do? You have this as the value for direct attainment. Here I marked in red, right? PO. All these values as the value for PO attainment through direct method. Direct method for PO attainment is only through CO-PO mapping. What is indirect method? Indirect method is common for both. For CO attainment also it is survey. For PO attainment also it is survey. So how I am going to do this? Indirect method. Again, I am fixing a rubric here, assessment tool. 60% people.
Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, sorry, ma'am. You have said that we have divided by 3 in the previous thing, ma'am.
That is in the case of CO, ma'am. Here, row wise. This is what you mean, right?
No, ma'am. Next, ma'am. Step 3.
Step 3, yeah. Step 1, 2. That's no step 3, ma'am.
Next, ma'am. Next
Yeah.
sheet, ma'am. Next. PO calculation. This is the formula you written now. This average of COs for P1 divided by 3. What is the meaning?
3. Yeah, no. Divided by 3 is the maximum value. Because
3 is the maximum value. Okay.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
3 is a constant, which is the maximum value.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you.
So we have given the POs here. Next is this indirect method calculation is same for both what is that, CO attainment and PO attainment. We are fixing the rubric as, so in survey we will give a Google form, or we will give a hard copy of a form with a set of questions, to these say survey people, whether they are passing out students or any other stakeholder or any other alumni or placement officers. We will present them with a form. They will fill the form with a rating of say 1, 2, 3 again, 1, 2, 3 again. If 60% of the people are giving above 3, so yeah, I can have the rating as 1 to 5. I can have the rating as 1 to 5, 1 being low and 5 being highest. So if 60% of the people, say I have given the form to 50 members, say 30 members is above 50%, right? So 60%. So 30 members have given their feedback for all the questions which are above 3. Then it is low. 70% of the people are giving above 3. Then it is medium. 80% of the people are giving above 3. Then it is high. I am fixing the rubric for indirect method like this. Then I frame a table for indirect PO attainment. Again, the table is same for indirect CO attainment as well. So PO1, here it will be Sibos. Here it will be, instead of POs, it will be Sibos. This is the indirect PO attainment. So for PO1, current passing out student, he is given 3. So for PO1, the consolidated value I have given. The consolidated value I have given. What is the meaning of this? PO1 3. 80% of the value of the people have given the rating above 3. That's why PO1 is getting the value 3. Likewise, it is framed for all the POs till PO12. Then I will get the attainment on taking the average of each program outcome. Average of PO1 is 3. Average of PO1 is 2. Average of PO3 is 1 plus 2 plus 3 divided by 3. Similarly, this value, right? I will get the indirect program attainment. You just see the last row alone. So after this, finally, I should calculate the PO attainment. So indirect program attainment is equal to sum of levels of attainment of a PO by 3. So for this is what I have given here actually, right? 3. So 3 plus 3 plus 3, PO1 3 plus 3 plus 3 divided by 3. So PO1 attainment is 3. Likewise, I have to calculate it till PSO 3. Then finally, for all the subjects, this is for PO knowledge for the program, right? So for the program, if I have 64 subjects, I should have all the 64 subjects here in this Excel. Right now for sample, I have given 4 subjects. So for C101, what is the PO attainment? So where from I have taken the PO attainment? I have taken the PO attainment from, so again, this is indirect program attainment. I have direct program attainment from the CO-PO mapping. So I have to take 20% of this indirect program, 20% of this indirect program attainment and 80% of the direct program attainment. Sum up, then I will get this particular value, this particular 2.88 or 2.85, any other value like this, right? For all these POs, I should calculate the PO attainment. COs, for all the courses, I should calculate the PO attainment, right? So this is what they have done here, actually, direct and indirect. 80% of direct, 20% of indirect. So collectively, PO attainment is 2.65. So this is what this last row defines the PO attainment of that particular batch. Say I am taking 2021 passed out. 2021 passed out. So this is the PO attainment for 1721 batch. This is the PO attainment for 1721 batch. Definitely, it should and the same thing should be justified in say clause 7 of your MBA, where you will say whether the particular PO attainment is achieved or not, right? So this is what, any doubt in this PO attainment and CO attainment? Anyway, I will share this PPT to you. We just go through once again. Definitely, it's easy to understand, right? Then next one is, this is all about attainment of CO and PO. CO attainment, PO attainment. How to frame the Sibos. So we initially started with how to frame the Sibos. Definitely we need to have an action verb, subject content. Other two are optional, level of achievement and your performance is optional. Then after framing the Sibos, you have to check whether your COs are attained or not with respect to the students through two means, indirect method and direct method. Direct method, we have internal exams, university exams and internal assessment metrics. In indirect methods, you have the surveys and you frame the rubrics and you get the attainment of a particular course. So with this attainment, I go to PO attainment. PO attainment, again, we have two things, direct and indirect. With direct, I have this one, what is that? CO-PO mapping, which is justifiable only by the course handler. How I'm giving the marks as 1, 2, 3 for all the POs with respect to COs. Then indirect method, I can have all the surveys with the calculation. Then finally, I will obtain the PO attainment for a table. This is the final thing that you should achieve. Next one is coming to assessment. Assessment is nothing but how we are going to evaluate the students. Based on some evaluation only, I can say whether the outcomes are achieved or not. So that assessment can either through a formative or summative assessment. So formative assessment is nothing but in a class, I can generally ask a question to which the students respond. Say some students can raise their hand and respond, which is not going to affect my evaluation performance much. So with that assessment methodology, I can just come to a conclusion whether I need to improve the training method or should I give a better way for assessing the students. That is called as formative assessment. So formative assessment is in-class assessment just with the students, Then summative assessment we have in the form of exams, question papers and answers. So whatever we do as internal exams and university exam, it is all summative assessment. So deciding which assessment to use plays a vital role in evaluating the students. So what the students need to know and what acceptable evidence which is essential for the attaining of the outcomes and what experiences will help the students to demonstrate. Wherever I say demonstrate, it's nothing but design their product with respect to the achievement of the outcomes. Then these are some other forms of learning. Apart from OBE, we have universal design for learning and experiential learning. And these are the learning technologies. Like technologies is nothing but modern technology for learning. Panopto video capture software. Panopto video capture software, most of the foreign universities, they are using this, where a student can capture their video on this particular canvas. It's a canvas kind of thing. And they can upload it there itself. And Kaltura media streaming, media uploading and downloading can be done in this software. And of course, I can place a webcam in that particular software and record my own videos also. Then multimedia production studio, where I have all my essential hardware for multimedia and I can record. Here recording booth is nothing but where I have mic and all such multimedia. This is production studio, this is recording. Using this multimedia production, I can use this, employ that production equipments in the booth and use it for recording purpose, which we call it as recording booths. So everything will be available readily. You can go and record your video, or you can go and record your video, self video. That is called as recording booths. And associated tools, we have Zoom web conferencing resources. This you might be knowing. Already we are into Zoom. Then LinkedIn learning, which is social media learning. Then Respondus lockdown browser is nothing but in the form of when you give a quiz in the Google Classroom in the form of a Google form. Automatically the form gets logged after 1 hour. So which we call it as based on the response of the students. The students who responded within that 1 hour will be taken into consideration. We call it as Respondus lockdown browser. Then Turnitin feedback to your studio is nothing but whenever you ask the students to submit assignments or any other reports, definitely it should be flag checked, meaning plagiarism. Plagiarism checked using this Turnitin feedback studio. Then towards the future of the OB. Towards the future of the OB is nothing but outcomes will include values and principles as well as abilities. Education graduates will help every single student to achieve their full positive potential. So definitely it is the need of the hour. We are marching towards this outcome-based education, and with well-framed outcome-based education framework, an institution definitely can succeed. Thanks for the opportunity. If you have any doubts, you can get it back.
Participants, if you have any queries, you can ask.
Ma'am, very interesting and informative session, ma'am. But what about practical courses, ma'am?
Yeah, for even practical courses, you have to frame the Sibos in the same way, ma'am.
We'll be framing the Sibos, ma'am, but how far we doing the calculations based on the experiments what we are done, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. It is all internal. You have internal exams even for practicals, right, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
For example, if the students complete the particular exercise in the mentioned time, definitely for each exercise you will have marks 10, 5, 9, 8. So if the student completes the particular exercise in the same hour, you will give him 10 marks. If he completes the exercise in the next forthcoming lab, you will give him 5 marks, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So where these are taken to be internal tests there, internal matrices. And definitely you will have a model exam for the lab, which is again an internal. Remember, ma'am, internal tests need not be 3 always. Even it can be 1. For theory subjects, we have test 1, test 2, and model.
Okay, ma'am. Under the rubrics also that we can change according to our
Rubrics you can change. You can change, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Participants? Ma'am, shall we close the session now?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thanks a lot for the opportunity, sir. Thank you.
So, ma'am, Dr. Sridevi ma'am has given an excellent presentation on outcome-based education. She has explained a lot of things related to outcome-based education. See, the points which have been discussed in this session are very essential things for accreditation purpose and also for engineering teacher to become a very good educator for an engineering institution. And she has given a lot of things like program outcomes and PEOs and what are all the benefits and drawbacks of OBE and the evaluation methodologies, what are the methodologies are available for evaluation purpose. And she has also explained about the Bloom's taxonomy, what are all the factors, parameters are to be considered for Bloom taxonomy, and knowledge levels, and how to calculate the course outcomes and course attainment by direct and indirect method. So all these things ma'am explained clearly, and COPO matrix, PO attainment, and also finally the learning technologies and the tools, what are all the tools are available and the technologies are available for the purpose of outcome-based education. So on behalf of the participants, Sri Sairam Institute of Technology, and on behalf of Indian Society for Technical Education, I thank you once again for your excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir,
சொல்லுங்க மேடம்.
feedback link post பண்ணியாச்சு சார்.
போஸ்ட் பண்ணிட்டீங்க, பார்த்தேன்.
ஓகே.
கரெக்டாக 10 minutesல க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடுறேன்.
க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடுறேன். ஓகே சார்.
Sir, good evening, sir. Sir, good evening, sir. Sir, is anyone there?
Sir, tell me, sir.
Ma'am, after submitting the feedback, ma'am, we just got the screen as a feedback session for session 23/1/2022, ma'am. Actually, today is 24.
Okay, maybe. Okay, sir, I'll change that, sir. Actually, it is 24 only. I'll
Yes.
change it. Okay.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, Sanusundar sir. Sir. நான் மீட் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடலாமா?
Yes, sir.
ஓகே.
Okay.